Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Friday edition of Game Night, the Friday before the first weekend of the summer season here in South Jersey, and the weather is ridiculous. I hope you're all doing all right out there. Apparently today the humidity was going to be bad. There's actually a chance it might rain tonight now. Got a tornado warning in effect until 7 p.m. Supposed to be 90 tomorrow, then back down to 60 on Tuesday or Wednesday. So strap in. The crazy South Jersey weather is back, and the sports world is not too different. The PGA Championship has actually been a wild second round here. We'll touch on that here on 97.3 ESPN. Game 2, Warriors-Mavs tonight. Coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM. You've been hearing the PGA Championship updates throughout the day. We'll have that tomorrow as well. Also, third and fourth round full coverage here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Celtics won, like I told you guys, last night. You heard it here on 97.3 ESPN. Smart Horford back, changed the dynamic of that series. We'll also talk NBA playoffs and the Sixers today with Kevin McCormick. Sixers beat writer, also covers the NBA as well. You know, this is the time of year that, you would assume cooler heads prevail, and you're finding out that the Lakers, there's a lot of speculation about Doc Rivers potentially leaving the Sixers for the Lakers job, which I always thought was very far-fetched. I mean, you can't be the guy who goes after the Lakers for firing Vogel and then go and take that job. Well, the news is coming out to The Athletic that the Lakers job is down to basically 3 guys. It's former Blazers coach Terry Stotts. It's Darvin Ham, the assistant with the Bucks. And then it's Kenny Atkinson, who's currently assistant with the Warriors. So Doc Rivers is not leaving Philadelphia anytime soon, it looks like. So anyone who was hoping for that can mail that in. So we'll get into that and more with Kevin McCormick coming up in less than 20 minutes here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. I want to get on the Phillies really quick, though, because, the Phillies have turned out to be the one team remaining. This is how the schedule works. You got one team that's standing this time of year, with the Sixers pretty much getting out of the postseason every year in the second round, along with the Flyers basically being pathetic. And the NFL is not around until we get around the football season. Baseball is the one thing. And no Harper again today. And as I was talking to you guys about yesterday, I do have concerns that this lineup is incapable of being consistent without him. When we call Harper the MVP, it's more than just an award at this point. It's a literal most valuable player. Because in the 4 games without him, they've scored a combined 7 runs. Combined. And now, after beating the Dodgers 3 out of 4 in LA, they don't have him available tonight. And you got a series where the Dodgers are a beatable team. You proved that on your road trip, and you don't have to face the biggest guns on the Dodgers rotation. You got Urias tonight, TBD tomorrow, and Gonsolin on Sunday. This is a winnable series. But the key is the bats. Someone was messaging me on Twitter today, and I had to reply back to them because it ended up not being correct. I understand that a lot of people look at the Phillies like, man, they did all this hitting on the road, and they came home and they can't do anything. Well, no. They came home without their best player. The Phillies don't just have the National League MVP. They have literally one guy that you take out of their lineup, they have trouble scoring. We documented this yesterday. Twice this month, they scored 1 run. Twice the entire month before this stretch of games where they got shut out twice. Well, who was in the lineup the entire time? Bryce Harper. Harper had to get the procedure done on his elbow. And as a result now, you're seeing what life is like without him. Listen, the Phillies are 13th in all of baseball at home in batting average and RBI, and they got the 5th most base hits. They can hit at home. The problem is no Harper, no winning, it seems like. This team just doesn't, they're not able to get any offensive production. And then you get whoever's making the lineup decisions. I don't even know who makes the decisions. I don't even know it's Girardi. I know a lot of you want to point the finger at the manager and say, oh, he's an idiot. He's a bum. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I got to tell you, I can't promise you that it's Girardi making this lineup. This could be some analytics dude suggesting that he do these lineups, and he's just listening to that guy. That's the way sports are now. You have these analytics people who are telling the decision makers what they should or shouldn't be doing. And that's a problem. I hate this lineup they're running with right now. This Hoskins in the one hole thing. I absolutely hate it. You know, I understand they don't have a natural leadoff hitter, but you got to put somebody who's going to be more of a contact hitter than Hoskins at the top of the lineup. Again, I understand without Harper, the lineup is going to have some continuity issues. Look, your outfield is a disaster right now, okay? You're looking at a situation that your center field is giving you zero production between Vierling and Quinn and Herrera. And all those guys have to play, speaking of Herrera and Quinn, because no Harper's out there. Not that it solves anything, because even when he is out there, he has to play DH until the All-Star break. So I get that they're not in an ideal situation. But your pitching staff did their job this week so far. The Phillies pitching staff allowed a combined 5 runs over 3 games. They're doing their job. We always complain, oh, the bullpen this, the starting staff that. But in reality, Eflin comes back. He doesn't give up 5-6 runs. Gibson, who got knocked around by one of the best lineups in all of baseball, the Dodgers, is able to go out there and not give up almost anything against the Padres. You lost both games. Why? Because your offense didn't show up. I'm concerned that this team cannot be successful without Harper. Now, they could prove me wrong tonight. But if the Phillies want to not lose the interest of the fans, they have to be competitive. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. You can text into the show at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. You know, Mike Gill touched on this some a little bit earlier in the Sports Bash. I want to bring it back for a moment here. Why did the Celtics win the game last night? Well, a big part of it was Smart and Horford being back out there. Another part of it was the Miami Heat couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Their shooting was absolutely horrible. I cannot emphasize this enough. The NBA has turned into a make or miss league to the most extreme. Literally, if you make your threes, you have a chance to win. If you're not hitting at least 35 to 40% of your threes at minimum, you don't have a chance to win a game. The Sixers went 5-1 this postseason when they hit at least 41% from three. 5-1. Think about that for a minute. That means almost every loss Philadelphia had this postseason, except for one, they had a bad shooting night. At least compared to what teams are doing to win games. The Milwaukee Bucks lost Game 7 to the Celtics, and they went 4 for 33. It's time to accept that the reality is that the team that you think is better than another team has less to do with the talent on the court than it is with the ability of that talent to execute at the highest level in the most stress-filled situations. I can't emphasize this enough. We have spent so much time analyzing matchups and strategy and all these things, but the NBA playoffs this year is becoming literally, oh, you made your shots, you have a chance to win. You missed your shots. And I don't just mean any shot. I mean threes. People are jacking up threes at an alarming rate. And they're doing it in part because they're trying to get back into the game. They're trying to be in this position when they're down by 10 and 15 to get it back within 9 and 6. I'm sorry, but if this is the way the league is going, there's a lot less objective ability on my part and other people's part to be honestly project and predict and analyze these games. If the games literally come down to, hey, the Boston Celtics hit 45% from three and they shot 25 of them, and the Miami Heat only hit 25% of their shots and they took 30 of them, the math is right there. You don't need Jalen Rose on TV. You don't need Kendrick Perkins on TV or Charles Barkley or Shaquille O'Neal. You are literally going to make the basketball analyst obsolete. Because basically what you've done is you've turned the game into a three-point competition. I hope that changes and evolves moving forward, but so far this postseason, when the Mavericks make their threes, they win games. When Dinwiddie and Brunson and Luka hit their threes, not their twos, not their layups, their threes, they have a chance to win. And they're winning most of those games. It's absolutely nuts to me that it's gotten to this point. So I say to you Sixer fans out there, because I know some of you are still sore over the fact that you are in a situation where your team is not in the postseason again in the conference finals. I just say this to you. If James Harden makes more threes, the Sixers might be here right now. If Ben Simmons attempted a three, the Sixers might have gotten here by now. But instead, I'm supposed to get mad at the guy who played through a broken face, or get mad at the head coach who's telling the guys to pick up the pace and they're giving him horse manure for effort? Come on. We'll talk more Sixers and NBA playoffs next. Kevin McCormick here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Major League Baseball this weekend on ESPN Radio.
Fires it. Anderson in the air to right. It's got a chance. Gone! Home run!
Tim Anderson leads the Chicago White Sox into the Bronx to face Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and the New York Yankees, owners of baseball's best record.
Swing and a drive. Left field. And it's gone! Aaron Judge
the Yankees and White Sox. Coverage begins tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern.
Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a brand new ice maker dropping cubes into a fresh glass of water, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Save up to 30% off select appliances. Valid May 19th through June 8th. Gas range extra. While supplies last. See store for details.
Hey, is this line secure?
Franco's cybersecurity firm secured a contract, and that's all we're allowed to say.
We have a green light on hiring.
He needs web security professionals with a military background.
3 teams of 4, 24-hour rotations, but Protocol Zulu is on a need-to-know basis.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly. Improve your gas mileage and save money with Fuel System Cleaner from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for just $10. Plus, earn double O Rewards points and get your next reward even faster. For a clean, lubricated, more efficient fuel system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
At Progressive, you can get 24/7 protection, even if you break the space-time continuum.
Ted, wake up. Huh? You look exactly like me. I am you, Ted, from the future. You need to call Progressive. What? Why? Well, they have 24/7 protection when you bundle your home and auto. And my teleportation cube just smashed into your car. Wait, you crashed into my car? Technically, it's our car.
Progressive offers more than a great price when you bundle home and auto. We offer round-the-clock protection, which literally means anytime. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers, and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
DQ presents the sound of an all-star summer lineup. Leading off, the promising rookie, new Oreo Dirt Pie. On deck, the fan favorite Girl Scout Thin Mints. Summer standouts, drumstick with peanuts, and cotton candy. And batting cleanup, it's you. With your red spoon and 6 summer blizzard flavors, official treat of MLB. All part of the new DQ All-Star Summer Blizzard lineup. DQ? Happy tastes good.
It's official. Summer is almost here. The sun is getting brighter, the days are getting longer, and your yard is ready for some love. Make sure your flower beds and bushes can handle the heat with special savings on Earthgrow mulch. Keep the sun off your soil and water in the ground, plus add a fun pop of color that will last up to 12 months. Hurry in. Earthgrow mulch, 5 bags for just $10. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid May 19th to 30th. In-store only. Color selection varies by store. Limit 75 per customer.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette. This just in. Right now, Bennett Chevrolet is paying a minimum $8,000 for any trade. That's at least $8,000 for any trade, running or not. Bennett is doing it again. Want $8,000 for that old rotted out rat trap? Just drive it, push it, tow it to Bennett Chevrolet for a minimum $8,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. Got a good trade? Well, if we're paying a minimum $8,000 for total junk, imagine how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. Looking for new? There's no beating Bennett, because unlike other dealers, we're not selling over factory sticker. And there's 0% available financing. Plus, if you're stuck in a lease, bring it to Bennett. We can get you out early. Any make, any model. And remember, Bennett will buy yours even if you don't buy ours. Stop in for a quick quote. No pressure or obligation, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
NBA playoffs continue tonight here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Mavericks versus Warriors Game 2. Coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. tonight. And then Celtics versus the Heat Game 3 tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Part of a busy sports weekend here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app for all your coverage of the Phillies sports teams you need. For the latest on the Sixers and the NBA playoffs, we'll dig deeper now with Sixers beat writer Kevin McCormick. Kevin covers the 76ers now for the folks over at Heavy, as well as an NBA writer for Hoops Analysis. And he joins us now here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Kevin, how you doing today?
Josh, I'm doing good. About yourself?
Doing pretty good. I covered all the stuff you write for, right? I got them all in there.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
You're a busy man, so I got to keep up with your your busyness.
I'm glad you still keep tabs on me after all this time. I appreciate it. I really do.
Well, you're the one going to weddings and everything. You got your basketball life, then you got your personal life to deal with. So,
well, hey, I mean, the last wedding I was at was for Justin Grosso, who covers the Sixers Sports Illustrated. So,
see, it all goes back to
the
Sixers,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's all life's just a circle. You just gotta keep on rolling.
Well, part of that circle is something as Sixer fans hate, which is another second round exit for a team that they were hoping would finally get to the conference finals. And look, on one hand, yes, the Sixers deserve credit for getting the postseason for 5 straight years, okay? The Kings have been to the postseason since, 2006? So, on one hand, yes, the Sixers are not an abomination. But a lot of Sixer fans are very frustrated, Kevin. They look at this team and they say, look, we could have not been in a situation. I see Jimmy Butler playing for the Heat. I see the Celtics getting to the conference finals. So for Sixer fans, this whole situation has to just be like nails on a chalkboard right now.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel great, but I think it kind of circles back to the unrealistic expectations that I said from the beginning. I felt that the expectations were kind of unrealistic from the start. Following the James Harden trade, granted, the Sixers leaned into it, kind of saying championship or bust on their own end, so they could partially be to blame for that, but to say that a team that, albeit, yes, James Harden was a fine addition to him and Joel Embiid are a great duo, to only give them 24 regular season games, and they didn't even play in all 24 of those games, to figure it out before the postseason, I think was a bit of a stretch, especially when you're looking at the rest of the competition. The Miami Heat, while they've made moves in the margins, their core is still pretty much intact. Same coach, same stars, same supporting guys. Same thing with Boston. Same thing with Milwaukee. These are teams that have been building their cores for years, while the Sixers kind of just continue to reshuffle and find their group. And now it feels like they found their footing with Joel Embiid, with James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, maybe Tobias Harris. So that's all there now. The building blocks are here now. It's just continuing to build on that. But yeah, I agree. In reality, I think it comes down to just unrealistic expectations for this season.
All right, so let me take the word you just used and kind of spin it back to you then. What are some realistic expectations for this offseason?
For this offseason, I would say the most realistic stuff is continuing to work in the margins, something I think Daryl Morey's done a phenomenal job of since coming here. They're going to have a little bit of cap space to work with. Had to figure out what you're going to do with Danny Green, so you definitely need to upgrade at the wing. Could definitely use more bench depth, bolstering that supporting cast, something Daryl Morey talked about following exit interviews, and I think should be the top priority because, like I just said, the Sixers have their building blocks now with Harden, Embiid, and Maxey. The task is becoming a deep team so you can compete with these guys like Miami and Boston who can go 8 or 9 deep and have guys off their bench that can come in and produce on any given night. I think that is without a doubt the top priority for the Sixers heading into the offseason.
Do you have to trade Tobias Harris to make this roster better?
That's tough. See, heading into the playoffs, at least in my head, I kind of felt like it was Tobias Harris's quote-unquote last chance with the Sixers. But seeing the way that he performed in the postseason, I don't know if they should be necessarily eager to kind of rush him out the door. Granted, if something comes along that's a drastic upgrade, you go for it. But I don't know if the Sixers should still be in that mindset of getting off the Tobias Harris money. But in reality, no, I think the Sixers are going to have the cap space and the assets to work with it. I think upgrades can still be made in the margins if they do feel that Tobias Harris can still be like a foundational piece here moving forward.
But with that being said, a lot of people will say, look, how are they going to make the money fit with his contract? You know, because even if Harden, let's say, agrees to a lesser deal, right? Let's say Harden, I don't know, instead of getting $47 million, he takes $39 million. I don't know. I'm sorry, a number here. You know, it's not like you're going to have a ton of room under the cap to improve this team. And, you know, coming to play with Embiid and Harden is not the same as going to play with, let's say, like LeBron James, right? Like, it's not the same concept of, hey, you're joining a super team. No, they need someone to come here who's going to be a part of getting this team over the hump.
Yeah, and while I agree with the fact of, you know, guys aren't going to be rushing to Philadelphia to sign veteran minimums like we saw with the Lakers last offseason, but we've still seen, you know, good good solid role players want to come to Philadelphia. Andre Drummond, George Niang, not flashy names in any sense, but, you know, they were guys that admitted they wanted to come here. They wanted to play for Doc Rivers. They wanted to play alongside Embiid. I think seeing the way that Embiid has taken another step forward and he's like just become one of the most dominant forces of this generation. And, you know, with a playmaker like Harden, yeah, he's not the scorer he once was, but if I'm a role player and I'm looking to get shots and maybe I want to go somewhere and up my stats to work on my next deal, I think James Harden might be the guy I want to play with just because, you know, he's a walking 10 assists a night. So I think that guys that want to get touches and feel like they could produce something, you know, the Sixers might not be atop their list, but I think they could be at least in the consideration of somewhere to go to where you could compete and also be in a situation where you could help your own, you know, personal benefits moving forward career-wise.
Talk with Kevin McCormick here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. You can follow Kevin on Twitter at KevinMCCNBA. Covers the 76ers for Heavy.com as well as the NBA for Hoops Analysis. Kevin, let's get to Harden. He's obviously the elephant in the room. My opinion is they lost the series because of him. That's been my opinion. Now, I don't know if they lost it because he's injured, which I think he is, or because he just has lost something. Because to me, when you needed him in Game 6, he goes 0 for 2 and gave you almost nothing in the second half. There were multiple games this postseason where it felt like Harden just didn't have the gas in the tank. Now, again, that could be because he's injured. It could be because, I don't know, maybe his conditioning was lacking because he has been injured before. What is your position on Harden moving forward? Because you know a lot of Sixer fans, they're going to say, you can't give the guy $47 million, right? They're going to say you can't give him a Supermax contract. He's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't know about the Supermax, and we've even seen some reports, I believe it was Brian Windhorst that came out and said that nobody in the NBA is really expecting James Harden to get that full max money, but I'm with you in the sense of I don't think he was fully 100% with that hamstring injury. I do agree that he's lost a step, but that just kind of comes with age. But I also think in that same, you know, breath that Harden deserves credit for the way that he's kind of adjusted to aging and kind of not losing a step physically in the way that he's become kind of this maestro that, you know, just kind of leaning in to his high basketball IQ. Obviously, people want to come see him score, you know, 35, 40 points a night, but that's just not who he is anymore. But he's still a highly effective player. I think he still raises a team's ceiling. So for a fan's perspective, I think they should still feel optimistic about James Harden. We saw what he did for Joel Embiid once he got here. Saw what he did for Tyrese Maxey. Same thing with Tobias Harris. You know, he still improves. He makes guys better around him. And I think as that second guy behind Embiid, while Maxey continues to grow and blossom into a rising star, that, you know, you should still feel good about James Harden after a full summer of rest and recovery and getting to, you know, kind of fully integrate himself in the Sixers system.
I've been frustrated with Harden because of the turnovers. I'm not a fan of a guy who's supposed to have a high basketball IQ. And for everything we know, Harden is a pretty smart guy. He's not some dumb jock, right? But to me, that intelligence has to translate onto the court. Harden since 2020, his teams since 2020 are 6-12 when he has at least 4 turnovers in a game. So the win-loss record says if Harden doesn't turn over the ball, his teams are usually in a position to win. How does Harden fix that? Is that something he has to do? Something that Doc Rivers can help him with? Is that dependent on the talent around him on the roster?
I think it's a lot of different things. In this series, I would say a lot of it could be attributed to just how like hard-nosed and physical Miami is. We saw what they did to Trae Young in round 1. I think they did a fine job defending James Harden and kind of disrupting him in round 2 as well. So I think that goes with it. You also have to account of in the postseason, guys are playing more minutes and stars have the ball in their hands more. So obviously, with a higher volume of touches and usage, is going to come some not so nice stats as well, which was why we could see a slight increase in turnovers as well. But part of it, I think the main thing is really just going to come down to like the reps and the comfort level with the guys around him. Because when you're still adjusting on the fly, mistakes are going to be made. There's going to be growing pains. Sadly, it came in the postseason, but that's just kind of the circumstance of where you were at, integrating him post All-Star break. But I think moving forward, as Maxey continues to grow, and I think we see him on the ball more moving forward as well, that they're going to find that sweet spot to where James Harden isn't, solely the one facilitating and initiating everything.
If they keep Tobias Harris, I'm putting as the caveat here. We know the starting lineup is Maxey, Harden, Harris, and Embiid. Is the 5th guy not currently on this roster? Is he somewhere else in the league right now?
I think so. Don't know who, but looking at this roster outlook, I don't know if you can fully trust Matisse Thybulle a full-time starter yet. We saw it for a decent stretch this year, but I think he's just the inconsistency of his offensive habits, I think, is a big issue. We saw some really nice flashes from Matisse Thybulle post-Harden, whether it was a screener, off-ball cutter, transition. It's definitely there, but the consistency wasn't. And I think with that, and, Daryl Morey, obviously, guy that embraces the numbers, they're going to want spacing. We saw how much different the Sixers offense looked when Danny Green was out there with his floor spacing as opposed to Matisse Thybulle. So I think that wing position is definitely going to be atop their list, and maybe that 3-and-D guy they try to find to fill in that last spot is not on the roster yet.
Kevin, I want to ask you about the conference finals before I let you go here. It's becoming obvious this postseason that basically if you hit your threes, you're probably going to win your game. If you don't hit your threes, you're probably getting blown out by 15, 20, 30 points. I mean, look at the Sixers. They were 5-1 this postseason when they shot 41% from 3. Not 30, 41%. I mean, there were game Sixers who were shooting 48.5%. So we saw last night, the Miami Heat could hit the broad side of the barn. Boston, what were they, 75% in the first half from 3-point? It was ridiculous. The Warriors, we know what they do. The Mavs, we know what they do. So, is that really what it comes down to? Is it literally become such a make or miss league that our ability to do analysis on these games has just become negligible?
I wouldn't go that far, but I do fully agree. It's a make or miss league. I mean, look at the game 7 between Boston and Milwaukee. I think that's the clear indicator. Milwaukee couldn't hit a 3 to save mankind in that game, and it's just so hard to keep up when a team gets hot from 3. But yeah, I mean, it's a make or miss league. Teams are really living or dying by the 3. The Golden State Warriors have definitely transcended that mindset, but I think teams will still be able to stick around. I think we'll regress to the means in some stretch, especially when you look at a team like Miami, who centered around Jimmy Butler, who still likes to work in that mid-range game, that pick-and-roll game a lot. So I wouldn't say we're fully going into it's just going to be whoever wins that night is who shoots their threes better. But, yeah, definitely catching the team at the right time in terms of where their outside shooting is definitely is a pivotal factor.
I'm just getting frustrated because, I mean, listen, I like basketball, okay? I'm not one of these guys who's like, take me back to the 19, I'm not one of those people. But to me, it just feels like these teams have become so desperate when they get down 15-20 that they abandon basically running any offense at all. It's just space and chuck. And to me, I just don't want to see that for the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to see for the next 10 years of basketball, it just be everybody standing outside the 3-point line.
Sadly, it's the way the game's going. I mean, pace and space, especially teams that are down big, because you want more possessions, and if you can get out from three, it's how you erase deficits. You know, it's crazy to say, but a 20-point lead in the NBA is nowhere. A 20-point lead in today's NBA is nowhere near as safe as it was 10, 15 years ago, just because of how prominent the 3-point shot is. I think eventually everything will circle back, and we'll see teams kind of start to regress from the means. But for now, I mean, it's proven to work. So, I mean, as long as it still continues to work, teams are going to follow that mold. They're going to continue to just, 5 out like Dallas does, small ball fives, unless you have like a transcendent center, like a guy like a Joel Embiid. But yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the game right now. I don't know if it's fully permanent, but I would say at least for the next half decade is going to be how the sports run.
Who do you think is going to be playing in the NBA Finals? And has that thought changed since these series began?
I think from the beginning, I've kind of been in on Boston Golden State, and I really don't see that wavering, especially after seeing how Boston took care of Miami when fully healthy again. And I mean, credit to Luka Doncic. He's been phenomenal these playoffs, don't get me wrong. But I think that Golden State team and their experience and the amount of just playable, like playoff vets that they have is going to be too much for them to overcome, at least single-handedly. So I'm going to go with Boston Golden State in the NBA Finals.
I got Miami versus Golden State in the NBA Finals. But I also think Heat Celtics is going 7 games because
I
could
agree with that.
I think that Spoelstra and Udoka are playing chess right now. And we are all just like standing there watching, basically, because I feel like game 3, I felt like when Spoelstra pulled it, 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter or more when he pulled the starters, I felt like Spoelstra was like, all right, you got this round. I'm coming for you. Like, I think Miami wins game 3. I think Miami can go to Boston and come up with something that is going to be the next change. And I feel like every game is just going to be, well, you did this, I'm going to do this. And it's going to be all 7 games to me.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be like a gritty series just because of how good both sides are defensively. But at the end of the day, when Boston's fully healthy, I think they're just far too much of like a well-oiled machine to break through. So I just don't think that Miami is going to have the depth and the supporting cast to step up, especially with the way Tyler Hero has been playing right now. If he doesn't get going, I mean, Miami is really going to be behind the 8 ball.
To me, it's not just Hero, though. It's the fact that it feels like last night, Gabe Vincent was 4 for 8 from 3. He was bombing away. It feels like they also got to get Butler the open looks. Like, he can't, like, Bam Adebayo is flexing after game 1 in the press conference. What has he done on the court for these 2 games? Like, I remember in that NBA Finals versus the Lakers, he was playing out of his mind, right? Like I need that Bam Adebayo to make this an interesting series. It can't just be Hero and Butler, carrying the team on their back the whole time.
I agree, but I mean, this is a tough matchup for Bam Adebayo just because Boston runs that double big lineup with Williams and Horford, and then they go to Grant Williams off the bench as well. So they're a team that has that size and that physicality to combat him, which is why we're seeing him shoot, I think it was 6 shots last game. But yeah, right. I agree. He's definitely another one with Tyler Hero that needs to be more assertive if Miami's going to get going in this series.
Because, I mean, we already saw from Boston, like, Tatum and Brown could have a bad game, but if somebody else steps up, they can still win this postseason. I mean, Grant Williams, you mentioned, what do you have, 7 threes versus the Bucks? He had more threes than the entire Bucks team did in game 7.
And then you even look at game 2 against Miami, Marcus Smart, 24 points. I think he had 12 assists as well. Grant Williams, I think, had 19 off the bench. It's like I'm saying, I just think Boston is too well-oiled of a machine. They have too many, like, just playable guys they can bring in off the bench between Williams and White and Pritchard. And I just think it's going to be too much for Miami to overcome. I think they're going to give them their best shot. I agree with you. I could definitely see it going 7 games. But in my mind, with what I've seen and looking at both teams, I really don't see a reality where Miami overcomes them.
All right, Kevin, before I let you go, why is Hoskins batting leadoff? I hate it.
Because the analytics, man. That's why.
The analytics are stupid.
Fair enough. To each his own.
I want Hoskins like 3, 4, 5, 6. I want him in that part. The top of the lineup is supposed to be for a contact hitter. Like, I'm okay with Bone being in the 2. The guy actually is getting on base. He's he's doing the job. He's not an ideal 2-hole hitter, but like tonight, still no Harper, right? Like, why not put Segura or Real Muto in that 1 spot? Let Hoskins be surrounded by Castellanos and Schwarber. Because to me, one thing has been proven this year: your boy Hoskins hits great when he's surrounded by good hitters. When he's not surrounded by good hitters, it's like a hit or miss thing with him.
We'll figure it out. Listen, I mean, Joe Girardi, he's getting weird.
Yeah, he's digging into some deep analytics, some VoIP, some whatever else. Maybe Gabe
Kapler Gabe Kapler used to bat Hoskins leadoff too, back when he was getting an on-base machine.
Yeah, well, I think Gabe learned a lot from his time in Philadelphia. And now he's in San Francisco with the strong beard, with a winning team, and he left Philadelphia in the dust.
For no reason, because he was scapegoated for reasons unknown.
Baby oil, that's what it was.
Gotcha. That's what it was. Good to know it was cleared up.
For all your Sixers and NBA coverage, give him a follow on Twitter at KevinMCCNBA. Kevin McCormick joining me right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. Yes, Kevin, you were right. They shouldn't have traded Hoskins. Now they're reaping the benefits. The problem now is they need to get Harper back in the lineup. See, I'm willing to admit I'm wrong.
Listen, I'm just glad, like you said, that you were able to come around and admit your mistakes. Some of us held on. We stood firm on the Hoskins mountain, and now we're just living the dream.
I wouldn't call it a dream. I mean, they scored.
I would.
They scored 7 runs in 4 games.
It's a long season. They play 162. We can forget about some.
They need Harper back in the lineup, man.
Oh, absolutely, big time.
Tonight could be ugly. I'm just warning you.
I'll be there tomorrow in my Hoskins jersey.
Will you really?
I will, in the heat. I'm out there. 98 degrees. Don't bother me.
Listen, man, just stay hydrated, okay? And I don't mean alcohol. I mean water, okay?
Catch me in the alley in my Hoskins jersey screaming my head off.
Have a good time, Kevin.
All right, take care, Josh.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll get to your guys' thoughts and comments on the other side. You could DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. So Bill and everybody else who's already messaged in, I will get to you guys on the other side. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
The Western Conference Finals continue on ESPN Radio.
Puts it up, got fouled, score it for Steph.
The Golden State Warriors take Game 1 at home. How will Luka Doncic and the Mavs respond?
I got to be better for the whole group, so that's on me.
Find out in Game 2 of the Mavs and Warriors. Coverage begins tonight at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to the NBA playoffs exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
Big down payments. Thousands down. We interviewed the victims. Tell us what happened, ma'am.
Well, I says to myself, go to the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. Every vehicle's just one dime down.
And then?
I ended up at some other dealer.
Why?
They had guaranteed credit.
Let me guess. You had to put $4,000 down.
Yeah, $4,000.
Next time, go to Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. Springfield Mitsubishi knows it's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every vehicle, one dime down.
But my credit stinks.
Just ask for credit amnesty. If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
SpringfieldMitsu.com. SpringfieldMITSU.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16.4, dime down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a brand new ice maker dropping cubes into a fresh glass of water, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Save up to 30% off select appliances. Valid May 19th through June 8th. Gas range extra. While supplies last. See store for details.
Let's kickstart summer together at Lowe's this Memorial Day. Keep your home nice and cool with our exclusive Harbor Breeze Hathaway 52-inch ceiling fan special value. Was $134.98, now $99.98. And get our Pit Boss Pro Series 850 pellet grill special value. Was $549, now $499. Take advantage of our summer savings this Memorial Day exclusively at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Valid 5/19 through 5/25.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? Quality oil like Mobil 1 Full Synthetic can help you get more out of every mile. Got an older vehicle? Try Mobil 1 Full Synthetic High Mileage. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,000 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
DQ presents the sound of an all-star summer lineup. Leading off, the promising rookie, new Oreo Dirt Pie. On deck, the fan favorite Girl Scout Thin Mints. Summer standouts, drumstick with peanuts and cotton candy. And batting cleanup, it's you. With your red spoon and 6 summer blizzard flavors, official treat of MLB. All part of the new DQ All-Star Summer Blizzard lineup. DQ? Happy tastes good.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a brand new ice maker dropping cubes into a fresh glass of water, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Save up to 30% off select appliances. Valid May 19th through June 8th. Gas range extra. While supplies last. See store for details.
What dealer wants to approve you if you clear $350 per week?
Who is Matt Black Kia?
What dealer will pay off your trade even if you owe thousands more than it's worth?
Who is Matt Black Kia?
Correct. Do you have a job and clear $350 per week? At Matt Black Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township, you're virtually approved. Plus, we're overloaded with trades. Even one-owner trades, many with factory warranty. And they must go to make room for new Kias arriving daily. Just because you don't see your new Kia on the lot doesn't mean you can't be driving it home tomorrow. So bring any trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Offers with approved credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Expires
6/5/2022.
Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night being brought to you by the AC Airport. Plan your summer vacation now. Spirit Airlines is offering nonstop flights from Atlantic City International Airport to Boston, Atlanta, San Juan, Miami, and other exciting destinations. Visit Spirit.com today to schedule your trip. All right, I'll get some of your comments in just a moment here on Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN. So everybody hang on. Bill and everybody else, hang on to your messages for just a moment. I want to remind everybody, so here's the lineup for the weekend, all right? So try to follow me here. So Billy Schweim in the locker room is on 10 a.m. tomorrow, right? And then at 12:30 tomorrow, we got the White Sox and Yankees coverage begins at 12:30. Then following the Yankees-White Sox game around 4 p.m., we will bring you third round coverage of the 2022 PGA Championship. Tomorrow night, we got Celtics-Bucks Game 3 here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Then Sunday, after Billy Schwein in the locker room from 10 a.m. to noon on Sunday. Full final round coverage of the 2022 PGA Championship starting at 2 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And then Warriors Mavs coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. Sunday night on 97.3 ESPN. So we got your golf, we got your little baseball with the Yankees, and we got you the NBA playoffs all weekend long here on 97.3 ESPN FM. By the way, it's looking like Tiger Woods is going to miss the cut. And listen, it's not looking good for Tiger, and I get that. But I got to say, I'm still looking forward to this weekend because you look at who's on the leaderboard right now. Zalatoris, who's the guy that everyone's kind of been waiting on him to do something. He's right there, tied for the lead at -8. Rory McIlroy's only 4 shots behind at -4. Justin Thomas has surged today at -6. I mean, Thomas had a 67 round. It was actually pretty impressive. So, and did that shot land on the green? I think that shot might have landed on the green. I think Rory just hit a moonshot from the bunker and got onto the green. Wow, it's a nice shot. But there's still a lot of reasons to watch. You know, to me, I know a lot of people have only watched over the years because of Tiger. But here's the thing. I think that you got to remember that golf is more than just one guy. If you want drama, then you got drama. You still have drama going on in this tournament. And that's part of the reason why we're going to have this weekend on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's get some of your messages. Bill chiming in says, the Sixers have disgraced our city, picking Ben Simmons and or Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. Disgraced. I can't watch the NBA anymore. Hate the Celtics, and I can't watch Jimmy Butler without getting ticked off. All right, a couple of things. So, just to run it back, the Sixers didn't choose Tobias over Butler. That was just what Jimmy said after the game. You know, Jimmy putting a chip on his shoulder. You know, Ben Simmons tried to put out a tweet, trying to, troll the Sixers. And then he realized the Sixers are only in the predicament they are because of him. And he deleted the social media post. Okay. What happened was, first of all, I understand where you're coming from, Bill. I didn't like the fact that they didn't keep Jimmy Butler. I felt they should have kept him all along. Now, I was in a minority at the time. I was in the minority a few years ago that said, keep the veteran Butler. Don't keep Simmons and or Harris. There was a scenario where they could have moved on from Ben Simmons and kept both Butler and Harris. And honestly, I think Harris probably would have played fine alongside Butler because Harris is a likable guy in the locker room and players appreciate him and like him. The organization decided to pick the younger player over the older player, Simmons versus Butler, and they did it at the advice of Brett Brown, who, remember, would go on to become this de facto GM for a hot minute because of the Colangelo fiasco. And then Elton Brand was brought in, and Elton Brand was the guy who went out and got Butler and got Simmons. And the organization was still, for lack of a better term, beholden to Brown. And I don't think Brett Brown would have been against keeping Butler, but it would have been a little bit dicey because of the relationship between the two. So I think the organization, so if you're going to be mad at anyone, be mad at the organization. Don't be mad at the players per se. The organization picked Ben Simmons and Brett Brown because the assumption was that Brett Brown was supposed to get the most out of Ben Simmons because of their familial relationship. And the organization looked at Butler as just an aging player at this point. So I think that's a big reason why we are here. Look, you have every reason to be frustrated. I can still watch the NBA because I love sports. But as a Sixer fan, if you can't watch the NBA playoffs, or at least the Eastern Conference Finals, I understand where you're coming from. Look, you're in a no-win situation. If the Celtics win, it's one of your biggest rivals in the two teams' history, right? Or if you love Jimmy Butler, you don't want to see him keep being successful with another team. All right, Game 2 tonight, Warriors-Mavs here on 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm Josh Hennig. You follow me at Josh Hennig on Twitter. Have a great night, everybody. I'll catch you tomorrow as part of the Locker Room with Billy Schwein.
Saturday morning in the Locker Room with Billy Schwein. We got a jam-packed show. Mike Carlin joins me in the studio. The sportsbook insignere Dave Sherapan checks in from Vegas with his hot picks. Then we'll hear from the Fast Lane handicapper himself, Jeffrey Nash. Jeff will handicap the 147th running of the Preakness Stakes, the second leg of the Triple Crown. Finally, the head coach of the Fordham girls basketball team, Stephanie Gately, is in town to recruit and promote the Vanderslice Davis Memorial Fund and Golf Tournament. It's the Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.